Let's take a look at an interesting graph here. This is each team's draft value, their total draft value in the 2023 draft. And you see the Browns have the 8th lowest, but you're in line with the Bengals, the 49ers, the Bills, some teams that are in the mix in the playoffs. What it tells you is that the Browns have traded away a lot of the assets. Let's welcome in Brad Spielberger from Pro Football Focus. Brad, you look at that. How important is it, given that note, that Andrew Berry hits on some of the later round picks like he did with DPJ, like he did in the 3rd round with Martin Emerson?
Yeah, you do have to hit on some of those later round flyers, but I think one component that is captured there that was very smart of the Browns is when you trade for Elijah Moore is doing a pick swap. You know, you could have potentially just given your 3rd round pick to go get him. Instead, you give up a 2nd, but you get a 3rd back. In our chart, the Fitzgerald-Spielberger chart that was shown there, it captures, it values later picks more than some of the traditional charts that you see, the Jimmy Johnson chart and some of the classics. So I think that's a sharp way to look. You obviously knew you did not have a lot of draft capital coming into this draft, but you add talent and still get a top 75 pick in return.
Yeah, and look at it this way. Basically, it's Elijah Moore as your 2nd round pick, and Deshaun Watson is your 1st round pick. And Deshaun Watson's going to be your 1st round pick for 3 years. But if he plays at the level you expect him to, that's not a bad deal.
That's the cost of doing business if you're trying to acquire, a top-end quarterback, a guy that, last we saw him play without all the rust was a top 10 quarterback in the NFL, a very promising young player. So, yeah, that's what you got to do sometimes, and they've still been able to add talent around that. But like you said, you do hopefully have to hit on a couple of those later picks, find some gems, maybe find some guys that are not at premium positions but give you, solid depth players or solid rotational pieces at some of those less sexy positions, but still important in the grand scheme of things.